Are back and we are live, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that Mr. Pickle stays with us and doesn't decide to go off. So, so welcome back. We've had an interesting break over this end, just to let you know. We've seen Raf's butt off stream, and we also found out about everybody's screensavers. And Raf and I were just comparing, like you do, tattoos. Unfortunately, I've got my hoodie back on now, so you can't all see us. But he won slightly. He has a slightly longer one across his chest. Mine only stops halfway, and then that's it. And that's been about it. Nothing exciting happened. No cat interventions or anything like that. And then we talked about net neutrality. Is that right?
No, don't even get me started on that.
Is that just in America, though, or is it here as well?
It's here. Just here.
At the moment, it's in America.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
But it paves the way, basically.
Yeah. Once BT find out that they can charge more for stuff that you want, they
Don't
will
even get me started on that. So pissed.
So does that mean things like porn go up then?
No, it means that they'll have they can stop you accessing certain sites or make you pay to be able to access it.
Yeah.
So, for example, BT might say, right, we're going to do a social media package. So for you to be able to access Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, we're going to charge £120 a month.
Not just access it, you can only access it for a certain amount. So you can only access it for the month. You only get, 120 megabytes or whatever of social media. Once you use that, you're going to have to pay more for every 5 megabytes you want to use. It's like when I don't know how your phone bills work, but for us, if you go over on minutes or if you go over on your data on your phone, then it'll charge you for every 15 megabytes over. It'll charge you an extra, and you end up just tacking on this extra $300 charge.
But what about? Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's just Twitch has come out with a statement saying that they're totally against it because we all run small businesses here and it's going to kill us. Maybe the streamers make enough money to pay for it, to be able to pay to stream more and more and more, but you're going to lose your viewers because not all your viewers can pay to watch you. And
That's
so
true,
it's going to ruin.
An internet provider might turn around and say, right, if you want to watch Twitch, it's a bolt-on which is going to cost you £10 a month on top of your whatever you're paying at the moment.
Yeah.
But what about big Wi-Fi's? Like work or Costa.
They can stop you accessing it.
Well, they'll say you can't use Twitter on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's basically, I think the way I understand it, you've got the Sky TV packages and you can purchase whichever package you want. It'll be like that, but the guys who run the internet, so whoever owns that section of it so BT, they will then say, that's what you need to buy. So then everyone needs to buy it. Universities, colleges, you name it, will have to buy those packages to be able to access it for their users.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But unless you've got it, you might not be able to access your work's network.
Yeah.
From home.
I was just thinking though, I think it's awful. But I was also thinking that for example, I'm paying to access Twitch, then they have to give me a level of service.
No. You can pay to access it, but they can decide to censor it. They can decide to shut it down. They can decide to. There's no regulation.
What I'm saying is that if I'm paying for fixed broadband, a special rate to it, then they must have a term of service via that contract.
That's up to them. There's no more regulations. So
but I think it'd be interesting because I wonder who's going to be the first one who does it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when it's going to get enacted. Right now, the vote has passed, which is surprising because there was the most recent polls was 83% of America was against it. Yeah, maybe even more than that. It was in the tens or hundreds. I don't remember the exact numbers, but
wow.
Yeah, the vote got passed, but 83% of America is fighting against it right now, and so they're trying to push it so that it has to go. Right now, it has to go to court, but they're trying to make it have to go to Congress before it
I don't understand.
enacted.
I don't understand Congress now.
Yeah, Congress. It's like our highest level of government.
Okay.
You gotta push it
One
to
thing
before-
one thing I do understand is Mithras, and
Speaking of Mithras.
let's move back onto this because we've got quite a bloody scene in front of us. I'm just taking off your protection spell.
Yep.
So that is gone. So Raph, what would you like to do?
Perfect. Actually, I was just gonna type it in the chat. I want to.
I know. I saw that.
You saw that?
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to take the spear that this one had thrusted out at me, and I want to just impale it in the ground, and I want to grab its head and stick it on top of the spear.
Ben sort of like looks quite shocked at you at this gruesome act, and you sort of like bury its own spear into the ground and ram its head on, sort of like so the blood cascades down it. And as you notice this, you notice the boars. This boar here slowly seems to head off. Gully. It's sort of like got your spell on it, and it's sort of like lumps off. This one, the other one next to you, Raph, seems to be when it sort of like gets the whiff of the blood, you can see it getting quite agitated, and you do notice that Ben takes a little step back. Bartleby, you do notice that Ben's got a bit of a lump forming on the side of his head, just here. I don't know if you were around for that. Okay, Gully, you're the furthest away, and Bartleby and Hengist has been inspecting this this boss. Mr. Pickles, I sent you a message in Discord. I don't know if you got it. And Gully, what would you like to do?
Gully's going to go over, and if he can, without putting himself in immediate danger, he's going to draw his knife and sever the bond, the rope that's holding this other boar.
Yeah, and once that happens, this boar just sort of like heads off as well. And Dominic turns the head to face her. Oh, yes. And so this other innocent animal that is released by Gully, Dominic, and it heads off into the surrounding forest, to almost like return back to nature. You think that they've probably been kept there under duress, rather than under their own free will. Would anybody else like to do anything now? Don't all shout at once. Yes, Dominic.
I want to slap Gully on the butt and give him a good huzzah! It's like you're freeing the animals and setting them back to their, you're saving them. Well done, Gully.
Yeah.
Tavros would appreciate you.
Gully will smile and go, okay.
And you, when you look later, Gully, just so you know, you'll find out that you've got quite a big red handprint on one of your butt cheeks.
Yes.
So you know.
Marking my territory.
Gully,
go ahead.
Gully wants to look for an opportunity, especially he's going to probably wait till Ben moves off, maybe probably back towards Bartleby, and then he's going to have a look on the ground for his special throwing stone.
Oh yeah, cool.
And he's going to pick it up and look a bit sheepishly at Dominic and put it back in his tunic, and then he wants to go over and have a look at these crates.
Yeah, well, hang on. Rather than giving me what you're going to be doing for the rest of the day, you're busy there now searching for your stone. Then once you find it, you can pop it into your tunic. So Bartleby and Hengist, what would you like to get up to while all this is happening?
Uh-huh.
They're both dead.
I guess since we're both standing over there, I'm just going to suddenly look at Hengist with a very, very stern look in my eye. And I want to say,
I have to fart.
they must have taught the leader to speak, because I don't think these things normally speak.
Hengist is going to turn his head back to Bartleby and go, perhaps it was that ghost thing that we saw. I think, and then he's going to... Sorry?
Can a ghost teach?
I don't know. I don't know much about that sort of thing, but I can only assume that they would. I think we should, though, check these crates as quick as possible and move on, because the fire is slowly dying out, and that ghost thing was here once, and it knows where it is, so it could be back at any time.
Okay, Wrath, Dominic, what would you like to do?
Just want to recover my hatchet from the arm of this other goblin.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that I've got my stuff, and then I guess until they're ready to go, I'll just hack off the heads of everything and put them on their spears.
Okay, yeah, the goblin chief doesn't actually have a spear, but
I'll just collect his head and carry it along. Maybe strap it to my belt.
okay then. You want to strap it to your belt?
Yeah, with like his hair. His hair will be the tie that.
Okay then, yeah.
So
you sort of like tie it up, and you're sort of like walking around now, and this obviously there's quite a lot of fluid and blood in a head. So yeah, it's sort of like gently dripping down your leg and sort of like bouncing around on your hip. I'm just going to put.
I can imagine us like showing back up at the wagon and like tossing the head up to Lucas and being like, "I got you a present."
Okay, yeah. Is there anything else, Bartleby, Gulliver? Oh, Gulliver, you wanted to inspect the.
Well, I want to go and retrieve the lantern that we left.
Yeah.
Out on the outskirts of the camp, and then Gulliver wants to come and he wants to inspect the crates to see what there is. One thing that he's looking for is any type of food that he can use to replenish his rations with, because he's only got 2 days. We've been gone 5 days, and he only bought 7 days worth of rations.
Okay, so the Gulliver's torch is now burning brightly, and this fire in the middle has just sort of like gone down, and you can definitely see that it's some kind of it's almost like it looks like a goblin's been set on fire completely, and it's slowly just burnt out, and now through the putrid stench that emanates from it, it's just sort of like slowly gone down into embers. In the crates, just roll a perception check for me, Gully, to start searching the crates. Dominic and Bartleby and Hengist, is there anything you would like to be doing while Gully is searching the crates?
Like I said, I'll just be mounting the heads on the spears and collecting my trophy.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah.
That's all. I'm done.
Bartleby and Hengist, is there anything that you two would like to be doing?
Hengist will probably, if no one else is going to be keeping an eye out, he'll move sort of like over to about here, and he'll sort of like be scanning, sort of like on sentry.
Okay.
Looking out for the ghost or any other goblins or anything like that that's going to be around.
And Bartleby, is there anything you would like to be doing?
Yes, I'd like to assist Goalie. Would you like me to roll perception?
Yeah.
To,
So
help
if you both yeah. So Gully's done a perception test. If you do a perception test as well, can I suggest that you probably rest? You probably rested to get, or you can. You notice something happening in Lindo from over there. It's just yeah. So there are elements of food that you can probably eat from this. I mean, they're not substantial, but there's various dried fish that has obviously come from Ubin Falls, and there's various spices that you can probably put together to make some kind of meal out of them. You do notice that the majority of the crates are bashed and battered, and have been broken into, and a lot of the items appear to be tossed to one side, almost as if somebody has stood and done that through them. As if
I didn't have the sorry, I didn't have the
as if
cameras
they're
on.
sort of like doing that through them. And Bartleby, with such a wonderful perception roll, you figured that they were probably, it's almost like they've been looking for something rather than just emptying them. And you can probably see that while you go around the other crates, that the majority of them are like that.
I wonder what they were looking for.
Gulliver,
I say to Goalie.
Gulliver will say, I think they were. I think they're looking. I think they were looking for the seed, because that's what they were talking about. They said a seed. He said, "Find me the seed. You have a month." That's what that other goblin, that big goblins said. That's what the ghostly figure said to the big goblin.
What do you think a ghost would want with a seed?
Gulliver's just going to cast a glance suspiciously at Benjamin, and he's going to say, "I don't think they've got the right caravan. I think the caravan that they were looking for was the caravan that the old man was in. I think the seed was in that small locker, because he was a farmer. Farmers have seeds. Maybe that's the seed that they were looking for. Maybe they attacked the wrong caravan, thinking that it was the one coming from Ubin Falls, but it wasn't. It was the one that the old man was on. There was something in that coffer."
So
I don't want to get old and die. I don't want to get old and die, Bartleby. At least not yet, anyways. What do you...
I mean,
the merchant said
we're all going to be.
they said that there was a person that aged people and he couldn't be killed, and he was there but not there.
If he's both there and not there, Gulliver, I'm sure any fear of aging, it's not worth thinking about. He's going to be here and make us age to death, and he will be. And if he's not, then he's not. We'll be protected by Amriel while we do our search. Perhaps we should go back to that coffer, though, and investigate.
Master Healy says it's a good idea to die young as late as possible. That's what Master Healy used to say.
Die young as late as possible?
Yeah, that's what he says. He says if you're going to die young, it's a good idea to die young as late as possible.
Well, this Master Healy sounds like such a insightful individual. Where is this Master Healy you speak of?
Master Healy's back on the old world where we came from. It's across the big ocean.
Ah, I see. I understand, Gulliver.
But we need to find the rest of the caravan people, because that's what we've been hired to do. And how many's left? 20, 30 that we haven't found. But where do we go from here? We can't go back to Lucas either, because Lucas will be gone by the time we get back. We've been gone 5 days. He's leaving in 7 days. It's going to take us 5 days to get back. That's 10 days. He's leaving in 7.
Didn't we say something to those nice merchants who pelted us with stones to talk to Lucas and tell him to not sprint away?
Oh, well, that's okay then. But
Hengist,
I hope we remember to do that. I can't remember, and I'm just a man with a poor memory.
Hengist is gonna.
Sorry. Just before you say anything, Hengist, just because you're sat around talking, guys, treat it as a a resting time to get your fatigue back. So if you've got any fatigue, then it can be reduced. Yeah, go for it, Hengist.
Hengist will turn to Dominic and go, "How's your tracking? Are you any good at tracking skills? If
Yeah.
so, would you be able to see if you can find any tracks of a large number of people that might have been taken away? We hope that this will be the rest of the caravan. See if they pass through this way."
Oliver's going to look at Bartleby and he's going to say, "Bartleby, do you know this area? Did you not say earlier on when we were first talking about goblins that they prefer caves? Are there any caves around here that the goblins might have taken them?"
Well, I suppose caves would be a good location, but you may have misremembered, Gulliver. They live underground. Point down. They're underneath us.
Is it not caves that are underneath us?
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Those would be caves underneath. I was thinking above ground caves. Those are my favorite kinds of caves, Gulliver.
Nice recovery. Nice recovery. I think that was a good one.
So are there any caves about?
Can I roll locale to see if I know?
Means. Yeah,
There'll have to be a lot of them. They're going to have to be big to hold all those people.
What do I know?
I will. I'm going to move you onto the map. You should all be able to see the actual map at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a tiny weeny
teeny white bits in
so
window.
you will know that. Can you see this ridge here?
Mm-hmm.
Those
dark.
Bartleby, you will know that there are caves there. I'm just revealing a little bit more. So this is where Ubin Falls is, up at this lake. So can you see this here? This is the forest area. So this is a mountain region that goes, spreads down. And the actual, I'm just trying to find, if I put you onto this map, you can see the river. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So yes, there's mountains here, and you know, Bartleby, that they spread right the way down to the south west, and they keep going for quite a large distance, and you communicate that to the party.
And those are my favorite local caves, just FYI, after I've explained it all to them.
Well, they must have taken, if they've gone to the caves, they must have taken them pretty close, because they're not going to want to travel a great distance with so many people, are they?
No, and they're not going to want to go anywhere near any roads with other caravans and patrols from Lindo.
Raf, you need to be more specific what you're tracking, because movement could be, for example, the boars.
No, Hengist had talked to me and he was asked me to go off and see if I could find any tracks or movement of like large crowds. I believe it was the goblins, or was it people that you were?
It was the rest of the Wagoneers.
Oh, yes,
essentially.
yeah.
We think there's like 20, 30 of them.
Yeah, so you can roll a survival skill by all means.
Survival or tracking?
Oh, tracking if you've got it, yeah.
Oh, hopefully it's easy.
You sort of like think around this area. There's been far too much disturbance of the ground, and it looks like a whole lot of trees that have been chopped down or uprooted. So it's very difficult to sort of like find clear tracks in this part or this clearing at all. You don't know whether or not, if you ventured out further out, further away, then whether or not it would be possible. Although it is now getting quite dark, so probably time for a rest and a camp before you decide what to do tomorrow.
Okay. In that case, then yeah, I'll do that search, and then before I head back to report my findings to Hengist, I'll gather up some firewood and stuff on the way back.
Cool.
Okay. Hengist voices to the rest of the group. I don't think this is a particularly good place to camp, considering obviously we've still got dead bodies of the goblin things and the ghost is in this area. Perhaps we should backtrack a little bit to know where it's a little bit safer.
Yeah, there's that steely smell of blood as well, because there's quite a huge amount of blood around this place that many of you know, can be a great magnet for wild animals to come and attend.
So yeah, Hengist was thinking sort of like a 20-minute, half-hour, 20-minute walk, sort of back the way we came a little bit to like the next most convenient spot that way.
Maybe we should start heading towards the caves, heading in that direction, and then maybe we can pick up tracks in the morning.
The caves.
Oh, the mountain.
Yeah,
range.
so that would mean that I'll just put you back onto the map.
Because that's the other side of the river to us, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you think, I know it's a small map at the moment, but you should be. Can you see it now? So
yeah, I just need to zoom in a bit.
You started at Lindo, which is the green hex, and you travelling to Ubin Falls. So you came. This is the river. You can see the river, and you came off sort of like here. And so you figure you're sort of like in the forest here, so to get to the caves here, you would have to go back to the river, along the track back to Lindo, and then or cross the river. Can you remember where the bridge was? And go into the caves on this side, or go back to Lindo and go out the south western side down here and into the caves there.
So it would probably, I'm guessing, probably take a good 3-4 weeks, if not longer, to go from where we are now to where the caves are.
And I think you've also got the issue that you are actually on a contract at the moment.
Yeah. And we've only got 2-3 days worth of food at most.
You probably got enough within here to make sure that you've got enough to get back to the original campsite of the caravan. Bartleby's found enough, and with Gulliver helping, has found enough raw dried out fish and herbs and stuff like that from the normal caravan train. So you probably got enough food to get back down there. But you head back away from the blood of the dripping heads on the spears, and sort of like head back up about 20 minutes back into where the forest is more of a forest. You do notice every now and again that the smell is almost like following you, and you do notice that the head from Dominic's belt is almost like leaving a steady drip of blood. As you walk, Dominic seems blissfully unaware of it. As you walk, the head's just bouncing around the place, and every now and again it bounces round onto his butt, and he gives a faint smile as it comes back around, and he just sort of like moves off, and sort of like you head back off to a reasonable safe distance, and you sort of like make up, strike camp there, and settle down. And before you go, you take enough of the enough rations, etc., and food from the caravan to sort of like get you back to the main caravan site. On your
Hengist would have also picked up his backpack, which he dropped at the beginning of this combat as well. So he's got all his backpack and his bedrolls and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
On the way out.
Excellent. So I presume that you take up regular watches through the night, and you sort of like the morning comes without incident throughout the night, and it's while you are that you're busy striking camp and rolling at your bedrolls and thinking, you come to the conclusion that it comes a time now to think what to actually do. And what to actually do now, because you're in this position of having to discuss within your party what needs to be done and how you're going to do it.
In my mind, we have two choices. We can either go back now to Lucas and the rest of the survivors of the caravan and say we found the rest of the supplies, but they were beyond salvage, and call it that and head back to Lindo with the survivors. Or we go back to the scene of the fight last night and see if Dominic here can pick up any trace of the remainder of the caravan. That's how I see it.
What were we actually hired to do to begin with? What did Noah and Melissa say that we had to do? Did we have to find out what had happened to the caravan? Which we've done, haven't we? We know what's happened to the caravan. It was attacked by goblins and burnt, wasn't it? That's what they did to it.
Yes, and they have taken various bits as well, or taken to look through.
But were we hired to actually bring back what was on the caravans?
If we can.
But the only way that we're going to do that is to have lots of wagons, and because the wagons are destroyed, we're not going to be able to. We can probably get the more valuable stuff on the little wagon that Lucas has, but we're not going to get anything more than that. How many caravans was there in the caravan trail? 10? 20?
A fair number if there was a... Sorry.
Maybe there was something that they particularly valued on that caravan that they wanted us to particularly bring back, more so than, say, the plant matter of herbal nature or their foodstuffs.
Well, I would have thought merchants would want the most valuable thing, wouldn't they?
If
But
one
it's-
item's more valuable than all the other things, they might only want that, realistically.
Just out of interest, the job entailed two sections, if you remember. One was to, as Gully said, was to find out what happened to the caravan, and the second part of it was to bring back as much as any of the caravan that you can actually recover, because obviously that is the merchants from Lindo's, that is their livelihood. You know, you do have the opportunity, you do have some merchants back in the caravan, so they probably could come out to this, the site that you were at with the goblin attack. They could probably come out here and gather some of the stuff up, or, gather the ones that could actually be used. And if you wished, once you got back to the main caravan, they could probably busy themselves with this, coming backwards and forwards to this over the time, and start to ship it back to Lindo over a period of time, if that's what you would like to recommend to them. But it's up to you.
I
Probably
don't know.
take as much as we can.
Yeah, it seems like the most sensible thing to do. Obviously, it would be nice to see if we could try and find them, the rest of the people of the caravan. But I know it's not directly.
Why don't we head back to where the goblin heads are, and whilst me, you, and Bartleby and Gulliver look at Benjamin and him. Why don't we search through the stuff looking for the most valuable stuff that we can carry back to the other ones, when Dominic searches to see whether or not he can maybe pick up any tracks leading of where the other merchants are.
Sounds like an excellent idea, Gulliver.
Excellent.
Master Healy seems to have been teaching you well, boy. That seems to be a most excellent idea.
No, Hengist. It's just common sense.
Sorry.
This whole time,
Yeah,
Oh,
go
go ahead.
go for it, Ralph.
this whole time, Dominic's just been quietly just sharpening his axe, kind of swiping it. Every time you swipe, blood sprays a little bit, and then he just stops and just starts laughing,
Yeah,
just hysterically.
there's quite a lot of soil and bits of grass from your attempt to hurl it earlier on. So it probably takes a nice good clean. The head on your belt has. You'll be pleased to know the blood has congealed throughout the night now, and it's just sort of like this goblin boss's head there with its eyes and mouth wide open, and there's that pleasant smell, the rest of you, of what can only be described as freshly killed meat. That you figure out is quite soon going to go putrid, and then you notice even now when you wake up, Dominic, that just when you wake up and you sort of like look down at the goblin's head, there's a couple of like black flies busying themselves around the eye sockets, as it sort of like lays by your side. So
Pretty much my plan with this is if we stumble across more goblins, before we even do anything, I'm just going to detach it and just toss it up in front of them.
Yeah.
Oh, Gully thought it was proof that you had got that who had attacked the caravan.
Sure, yeah, that one. Dominic hadn't thought that far ahead.
So, Gulliver, can you just the plan is to go back to the area that you're on the map at now, yeah?
Yeah, and we're going to split into two. We're going to have Dominic having a better look in the light to see whether or not he can pick up any tracks. But he's going to go away from the main campsite, maybe a couple of 100 meters into the forest, and do a circuit to see whether or not he can get any tracks going out, whilst the rest of us are going to search the crates, looking for what we might consider the most valuable items that we can carry back with us back towards where Lucas is.
Okay then, yeah. Okay, I think I've got you. Okay then, so the next day you sort of like strike camp and you sort of like head out. Dominic, you can roll your tracking skill again. Yeah, you don't find any. It seems that this place has become very sodden, and there seems to be a lot of movement round here. There seems to be movement of booted feet, both small and large, but they seem to be toing and throwing, and there seems to be no exact direction of where they're coming and going from. If anything, they seem to head generally back into the forest rather than further away. Bartleby and Gulliver, you can roll commerce rolls for me, please.
I'll once I get back to the group, I'll relay all the information, kind of what I found.
Yeah.
Yeah. Commerce.
Yeah,
What?
so Mr. Pickles and Gulliver, you go around and you sort of like collect up into piles of things that you think would be valuable. You sort of like get back to everybody over the period of time, and Hengist, you sort of like stand watch, and Dominic Shea comes back and sort of like relates to the party that his what I told him about tracking, and Gulliver has a pile of stuff, and Bartleby, you have a pile of stuff, and Gulliver, you're quite impressed by Bartleby's pile, and Bartleby, you do sort of like look over to Gulliver's pile and think, maybe not the best merchant around. He's got quite a lot of things that almost like bling that look nice, but really would probably not bring a good price on market. You know, he's got some little bangles and small pots when you've gone for the things that you know in Lindo will actually bring in a whole load of money.
Doesn't tarnish my opinion of Gulliver.
Yeah, and okay then, and Dominic sort of like relates it back, and there's quite a lot.
I'll relay it back straight to Hengist because I respect him as the leader. So I'd walk up to him and be like, "Seems like there's been far too much movement, literally everywhere. There's footsteps going in all directions, both large, small, everything. So the caravan, which way it could have gone, is in the wind."
Hengist is going to he'll pause for a few moments and just be like, sigh and then go, well, seems like the only option that we have left now is to take back what Bartleby and Gully have found and head back to Lindo with what we have and report back.
Gulliver's going to say, Hengist, this is
Gulliver.
probably going to be a stupid question, but did I see you searching the big goblin earlier on?
I didn't search him, no. I checked to see if he was alive.
I take it he was not.
He was barely, but
He's dead now.
I finished him off. I put him out of his misery.
He's got no head at the present moment in time. And
I
he's
kind of looked down and kind of stroked the head.
and just to let you know, all these bodies, of course, are still there. You know, maybe one of the odd goblins, the little ones, have been dragged off by some wild beast during the night. But I mean, the main goblin the boss goblin is definitely still there and still slowly draining the blood out of it.
Hengist, maybe you should search him. Maybe he had something that he used to communicate with the ghost.
Hengist
a magic conch.
Yeah, Hengist will go, okay, let's have a look.
I'm not
and
touching it.
He slowly pats down what he assumes are pockets on the goblin's
yeah, okay then the goblin doesn't
body.
Yeah, but okay then you need to roll your perception check. Yeah, okay then you search the body and no, you don't find anything of he seems to just have, quite strangely, just seems to have his armor and his weapons. And that's it. I mean, his nether regions are quite moist now, and there's definitely a smell of soilness emanating from him. And, you know, there's quite a lot of blood around that seeped in, but he definitely has nothing else on him.
As soon as he's done that, found nothing, before responding to the rest of the party, he'll go and find a patch of grass that is still fairly clean. He'll go to the little stream and wash his hands in the stream and then dry them on the grass and then say, I didn't find anything.
What to do now then? Do we head back down to Lucas? We can't. Dominic hasn't found any tracks, so we can't follow we can't find out where the other caravan people are. At least we've got 4 or 5 of them
4 or
out of
5.
50.
4 or 5 out of 50. We know roughly where they are,
That's
so we can
nearly half.
We can alert the town guard, the town guard to what's happened in the area, and they might send some guardsmen out to go and scour the land properly for them.
But aren't we doing this because the town guards are busy?
Yeah, are the town guards trying to find out what's happened to Ika's father?
That's true, but we can raise it with them.
Don't we know what happened to him?
Oh yeah, he got shot by a crossbow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think they were trying to find out who actually did it, Dominic.
I thought
not what did it. We know what did it. It was a crossbow.
They did find him. He died.
Oh yeah.
At this point, Hengist is going to get steely-eyed because obviously he remembers that the assassin that held the crossbow had the logo of the double-headed snake. So he says, I think we should head back and For it seems to me that we have completed as much of this contract as we are currently able. But that is just my opinion. I obviously am open to other people's suggestions before making the final decision.
Dominic will stand up and hoist his axe kind of up over his shoulders and put his hands up, and he's like, "Off we go then."
Okay.
And
Okay.
walks off by himself.
Should we leave a note like on a tree or something for Briggs?
No, he's really good at tracking. He'll find us.
I'm sure he's.
Okay. Well, in that case, we can just keep going.
Gully's going to sort of like
go
lean in,
down.
and he's going to go, he's a lot better than Dominic.
I could write a note on the tree so you could find us.
No,
That worked
you
really
want to
well
be a
last
rabbit or something.
It went really well.
Yeah.
We just pin a stoat or
Dominic's-
something to the
Dominic's already
tree.
walked off. I was just kidding. Dominic's walked off.
Okay, so the plan is therefore to head back throughout the forest to the initial caravan site. Is that
Where
the tents
Lucas
were?
is,
Yeah?
basically. Yeah.
Okay then. So you travel for a series of days, and just to remind you, over that time there, you do ration your food and your water, etc., to make sure that you arrive back at the caravan, the original caravan site. And luckily for you, the Lucas has remained there. And the other merchants are there as well. And you sort of like head back into the caravan site. And you relay your story to the merchants, and there's a lot of humming and hawing and discussions. And Dominic, at one point, sort of like, who's not there at the moment, but will appear shortly.
I was like, I don't see anything.
It's because he wandered off.
Oh, right.
He went to urinate on a tree.
Yeah,
And it took him a very
he
long
is.
time.
And he sort of like waves the goblin, the boss's head around, and as he waves it around, there's sort of like a whole load of flies sort of like suddenly go off it. And Hengist, you notice that there's a couple of maggots now they're sort of like dropping out of its eye as it slowly is decaying.
Gulliver's going to go and pet the horse.
And and
Hengist leans into Dominic and says, if you want that to stay in any sort of good shape, you might want to look at treating it of some sort, maybe putting it in some alcohol if we're going to use it as a proof. Otherwise, by the time we get back in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be nothing left of it.
Is there any alcohol nearby?
It is alcohol. There probably is. I'm just wondering whether or not there's a pot big enough to put the head in.
No. I don't need that. Just like a bottle or whatever they would use.
Yeah, there's probably a bottle of alcohol there for you. Yeah.
I want to grab a bottle and open the mouth of the goblin and just start pouring it into the mouth of the goblin.
Yeah,
Drink
and you sort of like pour it in, and it just sort of like goes straight out the gap underneath it, and just sort of like heads out onto the floor.
At that point, I'd stop and I'd be like, "You're wasting it," and then I'd get off the bottle.
Angus is just going to shake his head and walk away. Walk over to the head, to Lucas and the head wagoneer that's left, or whoever's like. Whichever wagoneer is in charge.
Well, when you all get together, and basically you can formulate a plan that will allow the locations to be formulated, and a plan for the merchants to head backwards and forwards and start to recover the stolen goods. They do think that probably the best thing is to get back into town, be it to Lindo, and actually report the occurrences of the goblins, because they fear, like Bartleby mentioned beforehand, this is a really major occurrence, and that this is something that Lindo should know about, just in case the town gets attacked. And it's while you're doing all this that I would like you to make some perception checks for me.
All of us.
Yes, thank you.
Nope, I only succeed on very easy.
Hengist.
Yes, well done.
Ellen.
Boom.
Ooh, Gulliver. Oh. As I walk into this meeting, like with all I see my friends huddling up, and I'm walking towards them, I just kind of pull the head and I hand it to some random merchant that I just walked by, and just kind of hold this.
Yeah. How we doing? Oh, Gulliver
Thank
and
you.
Hengist.
Thank you.
And yeah, Mr. Pickles and are too busy, and you suddenly and Dominic, you're too busy doing things, and you do, all of a sudden Hengist and Gulliver, you suddenly look round because you hear the sound of somebody coming extremely stealthily into the actual camp. And just to let you know, you did a really good opposed stealth check, and you suddenly notice Bartleby and Dominic that Briggs stands once more in the camp, and after a long discussion with you. Because of his stammer,
He only said 2 words.
he said hello, and another 2 hours later, he was saying, "How are you?" Now, he's got a really interesting scenario that's happened, that because he's been tracking for some time what appeared to be a group of 6 what could only be called bandits, and dressed in shades of green, almost like the legendary what you would know as Robin Hood sort of like fellows. Shades of green, obviously very used to moving throughout the forest, armed with longbows and swords. And there was a group of them. They weren't sort of like moving down a road or anything like that. They were actually progressing very concealed within the foliage, up in the trees and, in the underbush. And they did stop at one occasion, and Briggs tells you that he remained hidden. And at that point, he heard them talking about 2 things that immediately brings the majority of your attention back to the story, because they talk about an object that they got from a wagon, from an old man in a wagon. And some days ago, some weeks ago, say, and they also talk about leaving a house in the middle of the forest that seemed to have belonged to some kind of herbalist, a woman of some description. And as they talk about this, they relate discussions as if she had been removed from the premises. And you all notice when they're talking about, when Briggs is talking about this herbalist and this woman, that you suddenly notice that Ben is taking a very avid interest into it. And at the end of the discussion, he sort of like looks up at you, Bartleby, and with sort of like almost like tear-filled eyes, and sort of like just says, "That's my mum." What would you like to do, guys?
I'm just going to nod at Benjamin and put a hand on his shoulder and say, Amriel will watch over your mom. Do not worry.
Gully wants to ask Briggs that when these people made camp, did he notice any decayed spots like what we saw by the coffer when it was behind the rock on the main road?
Briggs says that no, is the first answer to that. But Briggs also says that they were talking about this object as if it was somewhere else and not as if they were carrying it. So they were almost talking in almost like as if it was in a different place, not that they had actually got it on their persons at that time.
And does he think he'll be able to pick up the tracks again? Or did he follow them to a certain location and lose them?
Well, he got to that point, to that camp. He says he could probably track back to that camp. But once he got to that camp and heard the story about the object, he thought it was, and that had been taken from an old man on a wagon. That Briggs, remarkably for Briggs, actually put two and two together and thought it would be best to head back to this point where he left you to retell the story to you.
At this point, Hengist is gonna pipe up and he's gonna say, "I am more than happy to head back with what's left of the wagon and the wagoners back to Lindo and complete our contract with the merchants if you are wishing to, because Gully seems to be taking a very keen interest in this box. It seems to almost be all he talks about, this seed thing. So I'm more than happy to go back with, if Lucas wants to come with me or Wagoneers, claim the contract, and I'll take all of your shares and leave them with one-eared Basil at the Hairy Hobgoblin for upon your return. Because I have inquiries I wish to make. I want to check on the progress of the two-headed snake investigation. And that is a rather pressing matter for me.
Very pressing.
Doesn't it intrigue you though, Hengist?
It does.
That two people, well, two groups of people now look to be after the same thing.
It does, but I have more pressing matters, Gully. As you know, this is my whole reason to be in this land, is to find my sister.
Lucas would welcome your expertise, your guarding to go back on the wagon if that's what is agreed as a party to decide what would happen about that. And Lucas is quite happy for that to happen.
Well, I'll follow you, Hengist.
I've got a feeling that this I've got a feeling that this seed, I think it's to do with the plague. Why would they have the map?
I mean, I personally have quite enjoyed these woods, slaying goblins. Wouldn't mind finding those caves, but if my friends plan to head back to town, I will travel with you. Who knows? We may find more adventures along the way. Or woman. Or beast. Yeah.
We need to set off. We need to work out what this. There's more than just an old man and a ghost looking for a seed. How many people died with that last plague? And if this seed's got something to do with that plague, why wouldn't it not? Because there was a map showing where it was, and everybody saw what it was like next to the ground where they had opened the coffer.
I believe that this matter is very pressing as well. So perhaps if Gully and the rest of you, if you wish I'd feel safer, feel better if Gully goes. He seems to be wanting to go off on his own, and I feel better if others went with him. And as I said, I'm more than happy to complete this contract and hold the money with Basil upon your return.
Understood. Well, if the opportunity is there for me to slay more, I'll go with this child, man.
My thanks, Dominic.
We will do great things. Aye, Gully.
I can rest easy knowing your axe is there to protect Gully, because I am starting to, having spent so much time with the lad, I am starting to feel somewhat fond of him.
Perhaps you should take Ben with you because he wanted to go to Lindo.
If Ben wishes to come with me, I'm more than happy to take him with me and drop him off with the city guard, or with unless he has any other pressing matters or groups he wishes to join.
I think anybody with I don't think you probably need to ask Ben what his pressing matter would be.
He's going to see what's happened to his mum.
Well, I think that's probably paramount on his mind at the present moment in time.
Yeah, Hengist hasn't made that connection quite yet, that's all.
So what say you, Bartleby? Will you travel with us? You seem to be quite useful. I'd love to have you by my side.
Oh dear.
As he
I
slaps
suppose
your
I will
butt.
travel.
Sorry.
This one wasn't
yeah.
sexual.
Who said slapping a butt was sexual? Now you said that, not me. I've just been thinking.
When I do it.
I've been thinking all the other ones have been friendly, but when you said that this one's not sexual.
So in sport, Wrath, whenever sportsmen such as American footballers or rugby players slap each other on the butt, that's a sexual thing. I thought it was like a congratulations, well done, friendly thing.
A little bit of both. There's a lot of testosterone.
I don't watch either, so I'm not passing a comment.
You don't watch what? Slapping butts?
No, I don't watch anything. I definitely don't watch sport. So okay then. So you're doing well so far, guys. What's the conclusion of the Bartleby? What is your plan? What do you suggest people do?
On second thought, the plague would be a terrible thing to come again, and I've been seeing things in the stars saying that great and possibly terrible things. Yeah, possibly terrible things might be happening. So I'm gonna have to, as much as I may want to go back to town, I will stay with Gully and Dominic and see if we can't solve this plague problem before it happens.
I think all we have to do is find the seed. If we can find the seed, then I think we solved it.
And
But then we'd have to protect the seed.
Perhaps that's, and this Hengist turns to Bartleby and goes, perhaps that's where the Count and the Two Moons can come into play. If you could manage to get it back to Lindo, that might be the safest place, behind stone walls and men-at-arms.
Or we destroy
Indeed.
it. We could destroy it.
That's
So that's-
obviously always another option.
So that's going to be the plan. We're going to split into two groups. We're going to have Lucas and Hengist traveling with the people from the caravan back to Lindo, where they're going to report their findings. Maybe Dominic will even let them have the head so that they can prove what attacked the caravan, rather than us carrying it with us for the next 2 weeks.
That's true.
Dominic starts looking around for that merchant that he handed it to. He's like,
And also the merchants saw the goblins as well, so there's word of voice as well.
Yeah.
Is a head staying with you, Dominic, or not?
no, I literally just handed it to her. I was just walking to my friends. And just
We can maybe find
random-
a small barrel of alcohol that it will go in, or something like that, just to preserve it for the remaining journey back to Lindo. Failing that, it will have to go in a sack. It's just proof to Noah and Melissa of what had caused it, and maybe it will also help talking the leaders of Lindo on how bad it is, actually showing them a goblin, because goblins haven't been seen or heard from for a long time, I think Bartleby was saying.
Okay.
And that's where Hengist will come in. He'll do that as well, and he'll use that as an opportunity in an inn to try and get to talk to someone fairly important in town, such as guild head or head of the guild, or the count, or one of his more senior sorts of like soldiers and guards, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
so that's
nice.
what he'll do.
Yeah.
He'll use that as an inn, and then obviously tag on his side thing of the dull-headed snake investigation.
Okay then. So at this point, obviously the party is going to split for time, and the fearless three with Ben are going to head once more into the thanks for the bits, Whiskey River, into the forest, and I just want to get to a certain point.
We want to take rations with us.
Yeah. Well,
what we can, leaving enough for.
What I'm going to say that with your backpacks, you take enough rations and you replenish your magic points and your luck points here, and Hengist, don't go away yet, please.
I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
I want to say I've got front row seats.
Yeah, and then the sort of like a couple of days, it gets to the point that Dominic and Gully and Bartleby with Ben in tow, Briggs leads you off into the forest, and you're almost like at his. He seems to know where he's going, and you just sort of like follow him, almost like blindly, and before long, you actually he leads you to what he thinks is the best place for you to check out first, and it is the hut that is of what appears to be a herbalist's hut, and it's you can see that as you as you approach, it's quite it seems to be set out. Not in the forest, but very close to the forest. There doesn't seem to be a huge gap or a huge area around it. It seems to be very old and almost like as if it's been there for what you would consider probably a lifetime. And it's you approach it from the doorway, from the front doorway, with Ben keen to sort of like lead the way as you sort of like head off. I'm just going to transfer you to the location. You see it? Oh, hang on, you won't be able to see it yet. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
What can you see?
Couple of bushes left and right, path going up to a building, looks maybe like it's a door and a window on the front, maybe something on the side, right hand side, another window.
Okay.
Maybe.
So this is this is a door, and this seems to be a boarded window. It's definitely boarded up. Most definitely.
From the inside or outside?
It seems to be done from the inside, so it's almost like as if they're shuttered.
Right. Is the door open or ajar or closed?
It is slightly ajar, and it almost like looks as if it's slightly off its hinges.
Anything on the ground outside? Does it look like there's no marks of blood? Does it look like the door's been smashed? Or
Gulliver, you can make a perception roll if that's what you want to do. No, there's no sign of blood. There's no bloody patches or anything like that. And as I say, the door's slightly off its hinges. Ben looks at you, Bartleby, and you notice that he draws his dagger.
I guess I'll draw my club and start striding forward. Hopefully, I glance at Dominic and Goalie to illustrate that I'm going forward, figure out what's going on here. If they can follow. Like that.
Dominic's sitting there with
That's what stop me.
Dominic's sitting there with his axe slung over his shoulders. He just kind of looks back as Bartleby takes the lead on this one and starts charging him. He's like, "Oh."
Gulliver's going to take out his disc that he uses to cast spells through, but he's going to forward. He's going to go up with Bartleby.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, before he gets there, though, he's going to put the disc away, and he's going to take off his backpack, and he's going to take a torch out of his thing, because if this thing's shuttered, the chances are does it look, from what we can see, does it look dark inside?
Well, as you get closer, you can see that there's a faint flicker, as if there's probably maybe candles or burners or something, a light, maybe a fire inside. It's not a raging fire. It seems to be just a flicker going on. There's definitely maybe candlelight or something like that.
Is there any way for me to determine, like, if I sense any, like, bad omens or anything? Because I feel like I've got mysticism. My guy is in tune with, like, his god and nature and all that. So do I sense, like, any bad, like, dark juju going on here? Or is this, like...
you do have a talent that you have, which is the closest thing that you'll have for it. Did you take it?
I'm not sure. What talent?
I gave you 4, and I said that you could have 2, and I know you took Axeman, and then what's the other one?
Oh, and arrow cut. What awareness is the one?
The other one
you're talking about.
the other one would have been awareness,
detect spooky presence,
and that allows you to be aware of things like threat, magic, anything like that. You can't gauge specifics, only that it exists and it's close by.
Gotcha.
So, for example,
how long have we been traveling?
It's only about a couple of days.
Okay, yeah, I don't have awareness. I took arrow cut as my other one, which I still haven't gotten to use. But yeah, so
so you mysticists do have the power, but you don't actually have it.
Well, as Gulliver has taken off his backpack and he's rummaging, and then he sees the light from inside, he's going to stop and he's going to stand up and he's going to put his hand on Bartleby's shoulder, and he's going to say, "There's light inside, Bartleby. There shouldn't be any light inside. They said that." And he looks over at Ben. Ben's mom had gone, and there's light inside. And he's going to again draw his disc that he uses to cast his spells through, and he's going to cautiously start to approach the door.
I'd like to approach the door and gently knock on it with my club, like twice. Not like a police knock, just like a tap tap.
Yeah, you applying pressure to the door just almost like makes it slowly fall off its hinges. It looks like it was probably propped up from the inside. And yeah, it looks like, it definitely looks like the inside has got a variety of almost like candles and burners, sort of like burning away inside. There's also you can see from where you are, Bartleby, that there's also some very strange things. And this here, hang on, let me just get back onto my clicking. This here, can you see that? I'm beeping, yeah. That seems to be almost like a patch of mildew. And you can even see from this distance that there's almost like small mushrooms or fungus started to erupt on the table. And it's sort of like spread over the table. And it's very similar to what you saw before on the grass. And the other thing that you will be aware of is that there seems to be, and you can probably see them, various coloured pods. Eggs would be the wrong word for them. They're definitely pods. And they're almost like, the best way to describe them to you, if you've seen the Aliens film, yeah? Have you seen Aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're sort of like, they look like almost like eggs, but they're more like pods. And they're just sort of like, almost like on the floor. And it looks like they're sort of like mildew. You know that mildew that is very sort of like fibrous. That seems to have come up from the floor and is supporting them in the upright. And they seem to be covered in this sort of like white mildew, as if cobwebs have been stretched over them, but it's definitely not cobwebs. And around the base of them, you can see various bits of fungus, sort of like sprouting from the actual the floor.
I just put a link in the Mithras chat to something like a pod thing from the Aliens thing.
Yeah, something like that. Probably more.
Can I approach one? I'm gonna approach one if I can. Blue, unless you want to stop me.
Yeah, no, you can go in. As you move in, Ben naturally comes in as well. Gulliver, what would you like to do?
Gully's
Bartleby's
going to
gone
go
into the room, yeah.
Okay, so Gully's going to go in as well. Gully's main thing is to take in the rest of the surroundings. He's looking to see whether or not there's any signs that Benjamin might used to live here. You know, sort of like, I don't know, cloaks on the back of the door that might fit Benjamin.
Well, yeah, make a perception roll for me. Yeah, there's definitely trunks of clothes. There's 2 beds here. And also you notice the way Ben is moving around the place. It's obvious that he knows this place. He's also sort of like looking around, and he can see things like that. You can see on the floor that there's various this part over here seems to be some kind of mixing potions. There's this seems to be some kind of patch or some kind of herbal growth, and you can also see that there's various stoppered vials that have sort of like fallen over of various liquids scattered around the floor, as if things have been turned over and there's rolled. And there's a lot of them that are actually still full of liquid. And actually,
is it more like there might have been a struggle in here than anything else?
You figure there's definitely been some kind of struggle in here. This is not this is not how you would expect a herbalist cottage to look like. It's not untidy. There is definitely been a struggle of some description. Yeah, Bartleby, you get up to these pods, and yeah, they look exactly as described.
Gully wants to go
Hang on,
over and
Bartleby
stand
first.
next to.
But hang on, no, go back, because Bartleby will have this before, because you were looking around and getting hold of everything. Yes, Bartleby, go for it.
Like the pods, does it look like there's an opening or a part that would be easy to like pry open with my club?
No, they look completely and utterly sealed, and to be honest with you, they look like they've been here a long time. You know, down on the ground, it's almost like really meshed in, and it looks like you can't see the bottom of them. It's sort of like completely grown in, and it almost like gives you this feeling that they've actually been here quite a long time, almost like months.
Benjamin, what are these?
Benjamin sort of like looks at you and says, "No idea."
Benjamin,
Honestly, they weren't here when I left.
I believe you.
You can insight
That's
him if you wish.
strange. No, I trust Benjamin, even though
I want to insight him.
Insight him, go for it. Blind roll it, please.
Oh, and on what is it?
Exclamation
B roll.
Exclamation mark B roll. What?
My insight is 69%.
69. He's
Yeah.
telling the truth. Honestly, he says, they weren't here beforehand. You could quite easily pick up one of these potions, Gully, if you wish.
No, Gully's going to leave it. Is there any? There's mildew here. Is there any?
Sorry, I didn't see. What...
on the table here.
Yeah, you can. I think you should be able to actually see it.
Yeah. It's sort of like a
like a grey.
Gulliver's going to say, Bartleby, what would happen if maybe the seed had, because it looks like maybe it's spreading. What would have happened if it was in an enclosed space?
I'm going to mentally think of what my gods would say is the most reasonable thing. Can I roll devotion to see what I might know to answer that?
What was the question? Sorry, Gully.
Gulliver wants to know. Gulliver knows. I've seen that if this seed sort of like just, or whatever it was, what was in the thing, if it touches something, it starts to rot, and sort of like mildew starts to appear. What would have happened if somebody had taken it out in an enclosed space rather than taking it out outside?
Okay, yeah.
Would it have caused everything, would it have caused it to be more sort of like concentrated?
Yeah, roll your devotion roll. Go for it. Yeah, you sort of like think and semi-pray on this point for some time, and you do hear the voice of Magoth coming through to you, that dark moon, and it almost like hear that almost like a hideous laughter, and almost like the words that you hear, almost like in a hoarse whisper, is that it just sort of like says, the first thing that evil has to do is multiply.
Oh, goalie. I'm afraid things aren't going to be that easy.
Are we in trouble?
I think the world might be in trouble, to be honest, but we'll have to see.
What do we do? Do we break one open? Do we go? Do we stay?
And it's as those words come out of your mouth, Gully, that it almost like as if the pod heard those words, and one by one they appear to shake somewhat. If I could get my...
I hope you got graphics for it.
I do. But for some unknown reason... Oh, I know why. And one by one... pods seem to shimmer slightly. Oops, what move you all? And break open. And they sort of like go... It's not it's almost like a, as if they're spouting forth something, and something is almost like coming out from them. And as they spout open, out of each one of them appears what seems to be a small fungus-like growth. It sort of like flips itself down onto the ground, and it seems to be you can only describe it as being almost like part worm, part fungus, and it does sort of like, as it erupts from the shell, it sort of goes and it sort of like flops out onto the ground. And there's a moment when it seems to keep very still, and it just sort of like undulates for a while, sort of like going up and down, as if it's taking its first breath. And then it almost like stops, and each one of them hones in on what appears to be the living things inside the room. And with what appears to be incredible speed, they start to accelerate along the floor towards you. And we will leave you there. We'll leave the wonderful duo.
Should have gone. Where's Dominic?
He's outside.
Yeah, Dominic did not want to go in that house.
He's outside with the livestock, with the chickens, etc.
So just a bit more. How big were these things?
Are you watching the
Yeah.
sort of like this long?
So about a foot long.
Yeah, and then sort of like that chunky.
Right. Okay.
Imagine a big maggot.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, something like that.
Yeah. Fine.
Excellent, and we will leave it there for next time, and see what happens when we return to the cottage of the herbalist, or if you're in America, the cottage of the herbalist. Anyway, as always, I like to give the players the opportunity to say who they are and who they have been playing. So as always, we'll start with Chuggerwugger. Go for it.
I'm Chugwugger. I've been playing Gully, the apprentice sorcerer. You can also find me on Tuesdays in the Shadowrun game, where I play Stanley Lovely, aka Studley, who is the combat mage of the runners. Apart from that, you just find me in Will's channel, where I act as moderator. And I am going to pass this on to Wrath from Wrath Inspired.
Okay, well, I'm Wrath, and I stream on Wrath Inspired. That's where you can normally find me, pretty much every day of the week, all the time, always. Otherwise, when I'm not there, I'm here on Saturdays, playing as Dominic Shea, the mongrel of the group. Hey, Bob Bear. Hi.
Hi, Bob.
But yeah, he's a good, lovable guy who's just really down to earth and just trying to enjoy the ride. He doesn't know about all this knowledgeable stuff that these two are talking about, but he's mainly just there to hang out with his friends and have a good time slaying shit. And yeah, that's pretty much Dominic in a nutshell. Oh yeah, and I want to pass it off to the legend himself, Mr. Pickles.
Oh, I'm Mr. Pickles. I play Bartleby Fumus, who will be most likely dying next episode, which should be fun. No, I'm the cleric healer, non-fighter of the group. I talk to gods and think I know things. You can sometimes find me aligned in Wrath's locations from Wrath Inspired, because I don't stream myself. And that's me, passing on the mic to Longshanks, EPG version.
Hi guys, thanks very much, Mr. Pickles. Hi guys, I'm Longshanks EPG. You can usually find me in every Saturday playing Mithras. However, if you had a high enough perception or you were around at the right time, you might have noticed that I'm not going to be around for the next couple of Saturdays because I'm going home for the festive season, so I won't be at my computer. So I'm not going to be around, hence Hengist's temporary exit from the campaign for the moment. He'll be back he'll be back by the 6th of, or whatever it is, of January. I know Inwheel's got it.
I thought it was brilliant, and I
had it.
I was totally on board, and I
didn't need to be told.
When I said, "Oh, Lucas thinks it's a good idea."
I know. I thought that was a good bit of roleplay from Longshanks.
I think some people didn't know you were going to be away, though.
I assumed that everybody knew.
Yeah. Me and Bartleby just love you so much. We're like, nope, we're going with him.
Yeah, and as soon as that happened, I was like, boo!
And Gully's thinking to himself, oh, well, here we go.
So yeah, I won't be around for Mithras, but I should be around for whatever Shadowrun session. So I'm in Shadowrun on Tuesday next week.
Yeah.
And then we're not doing the Christmas week because that's Boxing Day.
It'd be Boxing Day, yeah.
So we won't be doing, I don't think we're doing anything for that, but I'll be there for the weekend.
So we'll do this next Tuesday, miss a Tuesday, then see probably the Tuesday back after that.
Yeah, cool. So you can see me on Tuesday.
Excellent. And I think, is that everyone?
And I shall pass it on to our very gracious, very knowledgeable and amazing GM, Inwills.
That's me. Excellent. So thank you very much for coming along and watching tonight. I hope you enjoyed watching these four people play as much as I've enjoyed DMing the adventure for them. Felt that we had a really good combat at the beginning. That seems to be getting a lot smoother now as people are sort of like gaining, deciding what to do. And I thought that went really well. And some nice opportunities for characters to start allowing their personalities to come through as the journey backwards and forwards, and then into the herbalist house as the fearless Bartleby and Gulliver lead the way, and to see what will happen next time with that. Now, next Saturday, hopefully we'll be around, and hopefully we might get, Big Beastie will be well by then, and we can have Briggs back as well, which will be absolutely fantastic. If you would like to play Lucas, then by all means let us know, or if you're interested in joining the group, then let us know, and we can find you a spot. All you need to do is be able to role play, and that's it. We'll teach you the system as we go along. So I will be back streaming tomorrow at 3 o'clock, when I will be streaming some ESO, Elder Scrolls Online. So if you're around, it would be lovely for you to join me then. And until then, I would like to say to each and every one of you, please be who you are and say what you think, because the people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. Have fun, guys, and I'll catch you all later. And until then, consider yourself well and truly waffled. Have fun, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.